Welcome to the Wealth Stream podcast. The team at Hightower Great Lakes share their insights and passions for empowering their clients to live their best life. In this energetic podcast, we will take you on a journey to help you navigate your financial future, overcome life's challenges to reach your financial goals, and find the financial clarity you've been searching for. Let's explore the downstream impact of your wealth and what it means to you, your family, and your community to live greater.
Hello and welcome to the Wealth Stream with Tim Scannell from Hightower Great Lakes. Tim, I cannot tell you how excited I am today because you sent me some notes ahead of time. You've got a new program that you guys are running.
Yeah, we're running this Freedom Builder workshop. So a lot of times I work with business owners. I talk to CPAs and attorneys about their clients who are business owners. And, I've been in this position myself where you reach the freedom point where you could exit if you wanted to, but you kind of get trapped in your business. So we're holding a Freedom Builder workshop to help business owners long-term with exit planning.
Okay, so that's the catalyst. Now Tell me more about kind of the foundation of.
As fiduciary advisors, we work with business owners and we do a lot of planning. And one of the things we focus on is what we call wealth enhancement. And that's really helping them maximize what they keep. And a lot of times business owners are not, they're focusing day to day in the business and they're not necessarily stepping back and focusing on the business. But, if you want to have a full life, which is probably the reason why you created your own business, independence, things like that, you really need to focus on your freedom, and we help you do that.
Okay. When you say freedom, define that for me. What kind of freedom are you talking about?
The best way to do is maybe I'll use when I started my business. So when I got out of college, I was a CPA. Then I became a certified financial planner. Initially, I was working in public accounting at a big firm where, great firm, love the people, but to a great extent, they are completely in charge of your time, right? Of course they are, because they're paying you and you don't know a whole lot when you come out of college maybe. But then I moved over to work as a financial analyst for Time Warner, a big Fortune 100 company. And same thing, wonderful company, great people, but it's not like you're going to have a lot of control or freedom over your time.
True.
If you want to take time off, if you want to, have independence. I was looking forward and I was saying, hey, I'm getting married soon. I'm looking to have children. Here's where we want to live, the kind of lifestyle we want to live. I just felt like I needed more freedom. And so freedom is time, freedom is flexibility, and freedom is control. And that's what I was looking for. And as I've worked for the past 35 years with other business owners, that's oftentimes why people start businesses. You're a plumber and you're saying, well, look, I can't control my hours if I'm working for this contractor. Maybe I should go out on my own, or maybe I feel like I can do it better. So you're looking for a control. I'd say freedom is control. Freedom is time.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. One thing I'll tell you, it's just a simple thing, but one thing that I've really enjoyed is because I own my own business, my wife and our kids are out of the house. You know that. We've talked about that before. And it's possible for me. She still works a regular 9 to 5, right? But it's possible for me to take 2 hours in the middle of a day. And so every 2 weeks, we make sure we're on the calendar and I drive over to where she's working and we go out to lunch. We find a new place every 2 weeks just to go explore the area that she works in, because it's new for her. She changed offices. And so we're finding these little holes in the wall, Tim, that are just fun little barbecue joints. We went to a gas station the other day that it's a gas station, but it also has liquor and fried chicken. Just odd, weird. Just a real hole in the wall. Literally, you order through a hole in the wall and they just deliver it through that hole in the wall and you take it and go eat it.
That's a diverse source of revenue. Come on.
Absolutely. You got to do what you got to do in these times, Tim.
That's right.
But that's that freedom that you're talking about. I love the fact that I can do that, or I can take a break in the middle of the day and I can go water my lawn because I work from home. So there's all sorts of different ways to do this.
Yeah. The first time that I was in Nebraska, Eric, it was probably 20 years ago. I saw a presentation by a consultant who was an advisor just like me. He had actually started in the business, not much, a couple of years before me. And I had kids in high school, a couple of athletes who were like traveling volleyball player, one in particular.
Yeah.
And I heard him say that he was going to take the summer off and to travel with his daughter who was playing volleyball. And I thought, how do you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, that it intrigued me so much that I joined his coaching program for like the next 5 years to figure that out. But I was looking for freedom. I was looking for flexibility. I was looking for more time with my family. And that's what a lot of people are looking for.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I love that. So going back to this program, there's a lot that you've already spoken about on this podcast before for business owners that are looking for that kind of freedom. How are you putting all that together in this program?
So what I find is that people have different reasons. I just talked about freedom being time, et cetera.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I have a lot of people I run across who maybe started their business because they weren't getting paid enough or treated fairly. And they thought, if I own my own business, I can do that too. Or I once had, when I was maybe just 4 or 5 years in the business, I was working for a physician, and she said to me, well, Tim, you're lucky because you can work with whoever you want. And I thought about that for a while, and it sounds terrible to say that way, but what it means to me is I wanted to be able to work with the clients who I really connect with, who I really can add value for. And I find that's the exact same case with a lot of business owners I have. So regardless of what the reason is why you started the business and for what it was, oftentimes you get kind of trapped in there. One of the things we're trying to address in this workshop is try and overcome what we call the owner trap, where you kind of get trapped inside the business where you end up doing everything. Eric, I'm sure when you first started your consulting firm, your podcasting company, maybe even still now, you do a lot of the stuff is what you do, but I know at some point you decided to kind of partner with Proudmouth, and maybe outsource some of the things you didn't do as well as other things.
Yeah, I was brought on Proudmouth because of some of the experience that I had, and with the coaching consulting, you're absolutely right. There are things that I'm terrible at. You know that I'm terrible with email. A lot of my organizations.
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah.
Well, I will. I can freely admit that I'm terrible at checking emails. It's all of a sudden it's like, my email box is empty, and then a couple of days later, there's 200 and something in there. What the heck happened? So, but it's not just the organization. I don't want to do my finance. I have little cheats and things that I use to help me through that. I have people that I rely on to help me get this stuff done. An accountant, for instance. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that for my business or my personal life anymore. It's a waste of my time. I love numbers, but I don't like crunching them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. And even I was actually talking to, we've had a lot of plumbing work done in our house in the last 12 months. And I talked to our plumber, and I'm always interested in terms of how they got into created their own business. And he just said he thought he could do it better. He thought he could treat clients better. And like everyone else, like the other contractors I've talked to, suddenly he became the expert, and he's the one in the company that all the clients are calling. And, then you get kind of trapped where suddenly you can't take any time off because people are calling your cell phone these days and saying, hey, my plumbing's out, as opposed to having someone who could take the call, make the bid, people you can train and mentor for the future. He's the best salesperson for his plumbing contracting firm, so he's got to bring in a salesperson. So he like a lot of other businesses like me, when I was in the first 15, 20 years before I really try to focus on building the great team we have, you get kind of trapped. So this freedom workshop we're putting together, it's a very interactive kind of roll up your sleeves event or workshop where we're going to really focus on providing people with like 7 or 8 really key skills that they can take away and hopefully work on their own business to give them more freedom.
All right, Tim. So I know that we're due to COVID and all the things that have happened, a lot of things are virtual. Some people are comfortable getting back together in person, but a lot of people aren't. So is this going to be in person, or is this going to be online? And then the follow-up question is kind of let's walk through what people are going to learn.
So this will be online, and it is actually as a result of COVID, and people have become more comfortable with Zoom and things like that. But secondly, oftentimes when I talk to a contractor or a company where they're looking to exit, they don't want anyone else, in the public to know. So the confidentiality and privacy of an online event is just better. It just works better for people. More people will attend. So if you're out there and you're listening and you're in a position where you're looking for more freedom, you have your own business, at some point you want to exit, there's a couple things I think that we will hopefully help you with. Number one, help you recognize if you've actually fallen into the owner's trap, and maybe some steps you can take to get you out of it. So if your goal is you're doing too much, you're relying too much on you're not be able to take time off, you're not seeing your family enough, we can help you. We can help you identify it. We can help you with some steps to do that. We're also going to talk about some attributes that you can use to scale your business. Scaling just means technology. I want to leverage technology. I want to leverage people. I want to be able to grow faster. I can't do it if it's all me. So we're going to talk about in the workshop, maybe 2 or 3 things you can do to scale your business model. And everyone can scale. It's just people do it differently.
Okay.
And then there's also, we're going to go over we call them 8 factors that drive your value. And I've done a number of podcasts where we talk about the value drivers. And we're really going to say, even if you're 50, 40, you're not really planning on exiting soon, you want to be prepared to exit. And you always want to build your business in a way where you can step out at any point in time. And the way to do that is to kind of focus on these value drivers. And we've had a couple of podcasts on that already, Eric. I know you've been there with me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Those are fantastic podcasts.
And then the other thing, too, is one of the things that we're really focusing on now with a lot of clients, especially with leveraging technology, is figuring out how you can focus on different revenue streams and also on what we call recurring revenue. And I was listening to another podcast by this Professor Galloway, who teaches, I think, at New York Stern College University. And he calls them rundles, these recurring revenue bundles. And if you think about it, if you think of like what your Xfinity or, your Apple, like the iPhone, they like to have recurring revenue. They like to have you have recurring revenue for 2 or 3 different things. And oftentimes there's a lot of businesses that can do that. So we want to help people who will participate or attend the workshop to think about creating sustainable recurring revenue and also maybe bundles of that. And as a result, increasing the value of their business.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then we also want to focus on, we call it these, essentials of marketing, but things basically to avoid commoditization. So for example, in my industry, we use Fidelity or Schwab or Pershing as custodians for our clients' assets. And it used to be, even just 3 years ago, that Fidelity, for example, would charge 5 to 8 to 10 basis points, or 1/10 of 1% per year to provide that service. It's such a commodity. That part of the business is such a commodity now. They literally give it away for free. So my point is that you don't want your business to be treated like a commodity. If a tax return preparation, or if you're coming out to fix a furnace, you don't want people to perceive it as just something anyone can do. So we try to help the people who attend the workshop maybe identify areas in their firm that can be commoditized, and hopefully we can help them change that so that it's not.
Yeah. All right. That sounds really interesting.
And then the final one we focus on too is just, maybe we call it the one question you can ask your customers to predict if they're going to, what's the likelihood that they're going to buy in the future. So one thing we've done a lot in our firm here is you ask these, we used to do surveys where you'd ask 10 or 12 things. And now we just really try to focus on, what's the likelihood that you would refer us and our firm to your friends who are looking to get good advice. And you kind of compare the people who are likely, maybe they give you an 8 to 10 versus the people who are maybe 5 or below, and you come up with a ratio, and that kind of tells you what your likelihood of success is. So it's a pretty well accepted ratio or benchmark in that the Fortune 1000 use, and we try to take that down to help anyone use that so they can really have a good measurement for their own firm.
Yeah. Now, is there any type of follow-up on that, out of curiosity, when you find somebody that's not likely? Are you able to do any follow-up to find out what they're missing, right? What they're missing in the interaction that would cause them not to refer?
Yeah. So for example, one of our vendors will send us a quarterly email and just asking us that exact question. And if in fact you give a really good score or a really bad score, they will say, can we reach out to you? And oftentimes that, I've talked to the vendor and they said about half the people say yes, half the people say no, I don't want to be contacted. But that's the way to do it, is you want to reach out for follow-up and say, well, what is the problem? Or why do you think we're so great? And what can we continue to do or improve or do more of in order to really score well and do well with our clients?
Yeah. Again, you and I've spoken about this many times, and you're a huge advocate for just communication, right? Communicate. That's what's going to get answers. That's what's going to get, that's what's going to build relationships. That's what's needed.
That's right. And so beyond those, just focusing on those areas I just mentioned, I'll just give you an example, Eric, of just a couple of exercises. Actually, I'll focus on one exercise that we typically go through. It's called Hub and Spoke.
Okay.
And The hub and spoke is really, it's a measure of how much does a business really rely on you personally. And it comes from the airline industry, where they talk about, hubs at airports, and, and if they get snow, like at O'Hare where I'm near, and, everyone gets snowed in, how likely is it that the entire system breaks down?
Mm-hmm.
And what we try to do is we help clients basically identify, look back at last year, and we have some exercises. What are some of the things that you did that made your business dependent on you personally? What are some of the things that maybe when clients called in or there was problems that had to be resolved by you? And then going forward, we've got some strategies that maybe they could look at, or at least consider, that might make it so that they don't have this hub and spoke problem where they're the center of the wheel. Everything that has to, happen or get resolved, revolves around them. For example, I have a great client who's a commercial general contractor. And what he's built is an amazing firm where he does not need to be there every day. If there's a problem in the field, if there's a problem with the estimating, if there's a problem with something, some sort of operation equipment, he's got great people who can take care of it, and they aren't going to have to come back to him, and the clients aren't going to always call to him. Now, he's the person in charge. He's the person who oversees it all. He's the person who has created the infrastructure and the team, but he's built this amazing company where it's no longer a hub and spoke. He can take time off. He can go 2 weeks to Australia or 3 weeks to South America to go fishing, something like that. And the business will survive. And that's what we're trying to accomplish, or that's what we're trying to help provide, create a path for the people who attend the workshop.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. 3 weeks fishing.
Exactly. Doesn't it though?
Yeah.
Where do I sign up? Right.
Yeah, seriously. No kidding.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we need to know? What else do the business owners need to know about this program?
Well, I think the best thing that the people need to know about is that there's no cost to attend. And obviously sometimes people will say, well, free can't be worth it. But we do it that way specifically because we're lifelong learners. We want to add value. If they come, they're going to pick up 2 or 3 great ideas, and they may think of working with us or something in the future. That's not as important to us. We really are truly trying to add value, be lifelong learners, contribute knowledge, and contribute our experience.
Mm-hmm.
All the business owners that I've worked with in the past 35 years, and really help people. So I would suggest that we will put a link, and we'll put information about the workshop at the end of this podcast. I would say click it, try it out. And worst case, I think you'll come out with some pretty good ideas that you can take and help you get to your freedom point.
Well, and I'll just be honest. If anybody is listening to this now, and this is the first podcast you're listening to, and you're interested in this program, go do it. But go back and listen to all the information that Tim has put out on all the podcasts he's done so far. This is one of his passions, is educating. And Tim won't say this for himself, so I'm saying it on his behalf. This is one of his main drivers. And to be honest, he's told me more than once, I don't know if I like podcasting, but he loves educating. And so I love being a part of it. Tim, thank you so much for including me in this and just allowing me to be on this journey with you. Tell people where they can get a hold of you, because again, being lifelong learners, I think any business owner wants to pick up more information, and that's what the wise decision is, really.
So they can always reach out to me by calling my office at 219-246-5370, or send me an email at tscannell@hightoweradvisors.com, and we'll schedule a Build Your Exit meeting. Thank you.
Tim, fantastic. Again, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to hearing about all the successes from the folks in these programs, and kind of those. I'd love to do a podcast in the future about all the stories that come out of this. Is that okay?
Yeah, because there will be some, I promise. Yes, we'll do that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Again, Tim, thank you so much for your time. And of course, our last thank you goes to you, the listening audience. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the Wealth Stream Podcast with Tim Scannell. If you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, please click the subscribe now button below. This way, when Tim comes out with a new podcast, it'll show up directly on your listening device. And we humbly ask that you share this podcast, rate it, and leave a review, as this does help other people find the show. Again, thank you so much for listening today. For everyone at Hightower Great Lakes, this is Eric Johnson reminding you to live your best day every day. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Wealth Stream Podcast. We hope you gained some valuable insight that you can apply to your life and share with others. Please don't forget to subscribe below to be notified when new episodes become available. And don't forget to live greater. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Hightower Great Lakes. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning. Hightower Great Lakes is a group of investment professionals registered with Hightower Securities LLC, member FINRA and SIPC, and with Hightower Advisors LLC, a registered investment advisor with the SEC. Securities are offered through Hightower Securities LLC. Advisory services are offered through Hightower Advisors LLC.